So I'm going to hand over, while we're still waiting for Vicky, to Alison McMillian. We are very honoured to have the Chief Nurse and Midwife of Australia and the Commonwealth to be joining us here. It is just fantastic that she is able to help honour the most important group of nurses that we think at any rate, and that is older person nurses in Australia. Alison, please join us if you can.
I too acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands on which we meet today, and I too am here on the land of the Ngunnawal people, and a beautiful day it is too. So it is absolutely my pleasure and privilege to join you today in this meeting. Unfortunately, I can't stay with you for the entire meeting, as I'm sure many of you can appreciate. As we move towards the end of the year, everyone wants everything now, and this is the time of the year when government starts to look at budget, even though, believe it or not, we won't actually see the end point until May next year. It's now when all of the beginning work happens and all the argy-bargy. So I have to have my elbows sharpened so I can get in on the mix with everybody else. But I do congratulate you all for what is an incredibly important alliance. Gerontological nursing has been significantly unrepresented or underrepresented for so long. And really, I think gerontological nurses need a very strong voice, a voice that can help advance this area of nursing practice into the future. And I think you will make a really, really important contribution to that. I know it's your end of year, and I know for many of us, another end of year seems to have come awfully quickly. And I reflect particularly on this year and where we are in relation to the COVID issues now and where we've come from. And it sure has been quite a journey for all nurses and midwives too. But I think particularly quite a challenging journey for gerontological or older person nurses in Australia and definitely around the world. As I'm sure you're hearing, many of the challenges we've faced in Australia have been replicated across the world. So I hope that you can see in the time that we've began to recognise many of the challenges and aspects of the aged care system as it exists in Australia, the recommendations from the Royal Commission, the sort of investments we saw through the former government and now a new government in place, that there is a really strong recognition of the amazing work that aged care workers, enrolled nurses, registered nurses and nurse practitioners make to older persons' care in a way that has definitely, in my view, never been recognised for the value it creates, for the work that's done. And for my mind, the opportunity is now to be seized when that recognition is there and the moment is being grasped. So, you know, and I know you've seen some of the things, the beginnings of things that we've looked at to address some of what we've seen, and this government obviously is committed to a number of pieces of work. I think one of the most important is the transition to practice that we're now seeing in aged care, that we're working to look at to better make quality clinical placements valuable to our undergraduates, that will give them a view about what a career in older persons nursing could mean for them and what contribution they could make to it. I know that GANA has recently joined CONMO, which is a congress of all nursing, many nursing organisations. We, the Department of Health, fund the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation to manage CONMO as an avenue and a pathway to reach up, because there are so many nursing organisations in the country. But I'd like to see your group of GANA move forward into being one of the peak bodies and peak voices for nursing, and in some ways, therefore, also the voice of those that may not be able to speak for themselves, for those older people who are in our care, who need us as professionals at times to advocate for them. So I see this, call it this alliance, I have to not call it college, alliance, playing that critical path in this direction. And as I'm sure you're aware, we've seen representation now at a number of the workforce roundtables and task forces and things that are now providing advice to government about the direction of where we should be going in the future. So I congratulate you all on the work you've done, and I can't go without, of course, mentioning that this week, of course, is also Nurse Practitioner Week, and so we importantly recognise the amazing work that nurse practitioners do, and we look forward to enhancing and building on that, on the important role they've played, and seeing how we can see them then have greater opportunities to contribute to the health and well-being of all Australians into the future. So I'm looking forward to the resolution of some of the work that we've been on the nurse practitioner 10-year plan. But I suppose some of you may be aware that my involvement in aged care during the pandemic, and particularly in Victoria during the wave in 2020, really has even more increased my commitment to this area of nursing, an area again I feel has definitely been neglected. And for those of you, well, anyway, at the Australian College of Nursing conference in Cairns earlier this year, I called upon our profession of nursing to really ask our profession, do we really value aged care or older persons, nurses, as much as we should? Do we recognise the critical importance they play, the role they play often in difficult and challenging circumstances, with definitely not the resources, the career structures, the professional support, the remuneration that they deserve for this important work. So I am a strong advocate for you all, I hope, and I hope that also our profession will better recognise the critical work that's done out there for, as I say, often the most vulnerable and those that can't always speak for themselves. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to open this your final meeting for this year, but I'm hoping what will be many, many meetings. And I know you're going to use predominantly online platforms as a way of communicating, and that is very contemporary. So congratulations for that. So thank you for the opportunity to join you today.
Thank you so much, Alison. We really just cannot thank you enough, I guess, for that oversight and leadership for what we need in the leadership space for gerontological nursing. And I think that we've seen so many transitions and opportunities in the last little while. And now is our time to, I guess, capitalise on them and really make the difference. I certainly know that in doing a response to the recent review of the quality standards, that nursing is sometimes only reduced to technical nursing, and that's certainly what it was in that document. And trying to articulate and getting used to repeating ourselves and articulating what it is that complex older person nursing is what I see as one of the jobs of GANA, and one that we are very well equipped to do so. And I think today, and I'm really excited to showcase some advanced practice nurses and nurse practitioners who are doing amazing work in this space to be able to illustrate what that complex older person nursing is, not only to herald it and celebrate it, but also for aspiring nurses to be seeing it as part of their career pathway and as an opportunity. And Alison, as you've mentioned about getting our nursing colleagues to also gain that insight into what a specialty it is when it hasn't necessarily always been recognised as one. It's just that everybody else happens to be over 60% of hospitalizations being people over 65, but yet the older person nursing is just that other bit of nursing that we do. So fantastic to have us all on this same page.